SP Russell joins me for the Police and News segment, a very important discussion every single Thursday. We thank you for being here. Of course, ASP, you know, it's been an interesting week. The TTPS, they've been in the news. I saw that the commissioner, she was in defense mode, suggesting what the Prime Minister said to the nation in Parliament was not the case. Just to really get your perspective, if you could elaborate for us, what is the current standing order, if there are any particular rules of engagement as it pertains to police stations after dark?
Okay, well, first let me say pleasant good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the Executive for Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and the rank and file of all the members of the organizations. In treating with your question, I know it would have caused quite a stir over the past few days, but what I want to say, in the older days, you know, how our laws are couched, our standing orders, there were A stations, B stations, and C stations. The A stations would be stations like in the heart of everything, so they remain open. Country stations were referred to as sometimes B stations or C stations. Sometimes we call them posts. They were allowed to close. But what I want to assure the members of the public, notwithstanding those were in our orders, we have since changed that operation years ago. Years ago, those things were brought to an end, and we are now in the process of fixing the standing orders so that we could accommodate these new changes, which we would be guided by. Someone
explained to me that most stations are now outfitted with air conditioning, so that's why I would imagine that door via a charge room will be closed to ensure that, well, the room remains a bit cool based on the heat and the current conditions. Is that accurate?
Well, we have air conditioning now, yes, so you would need to keep the doors closed. When you look at sometimes in the rainy season, it have mosquitoes, it have Sahara dust now. There are a lot of different things. Nobody leaves their door to their houses open, you know. But what I want to assure the members of the public of Trinidad and Tobago is that despite whether lights on, lights off, the station is open 24 hours of the day to serve the members of the public.
So even though the door might be closed, it's not locked per se?
The door might be closed, but it's not locked. I assure you, it's not locked. In my 26 years, my meager 26 years of service, I would have, as I come through the ranks, I would have been tasked with the responsibility of visiting stations throughout different divisions, and I have never come across a situation where the door is locked or my officers are cowering from the criminal elements. And you know, what I want persons to think about and throw their heads on, these same officers are the same officers that are in the hot spots, the hot zones, taking the fight to the criminal.
Well, I'm seeing here, based on what you just mentioned, I want to segue to what you would have established in the last couple of weeks as intelligence-driven policing. I'm sure intelligence would have led to this particular drug bust I'm seeing on the front page of The Guardian this morning. Other than this particular bust yesterday, what are some of the wins in the last week? Any more guns off the street? Give me some.
Of course.
Give me some stats.
What I would give is the overall numbers, but before I get to that, you know, sometimes people are upset again when they see the roadblocks or police stop them, and it's a routine road check that had us come to the discovery of that $1.7 million in cannabis. Yeah? So you see, there is a method. So we ask for the public's support. But thus far, since the SOE, we have had 815 operations, 750 priority offenders targeted, 4,634 searches conducted, 645 traffic operations, total persons arrested 630, traffic offenses detected 1,832. Just we have had 37 firearms recovered, including AR-15s, rifles, pistols. We have had at 1,053 rounds of assorted ammunition. And when it comes to drugs, for marijuana, we have had 115,207 grams seized and 607.79 grams of cocaine seized. The same officers continue to be committed to Trinidad and Tobago, continue to be courageous, continue to take the fight to the criminal elements to make Trinidad and Tobago a safer place.
Out of these 630 that you mentioned arrested, I'm wondering if the work that you're doing, the hard work, that heavy lifting, I don't want it to go to naught, because I'm recognizing there's one particular person that was arrested. I remember in your district, actually in the West, former footballer. Apparently he's getting bail. Again, that's the judicial structure of the country. Is it that these folks, the majority, will have to stay inside, or will they be given a moment within the SOE? If you could explain to me, under the context of the SOE, could someone get bail, or they have to stay in? What's going to happen with the 630? Are they going to be in for the rest of it, or some could actually come out?
Well, firstly, based on inquiries, some of them may be released. Some of them may be an extended guess based on ongoing inquiries that we see will be bearing fruit, that if we release them, it may hamper the inquiries. And with respect to bail, once we do our job as the police service and arrest and charge and place these people before the court, bail lies in the ambit or under the responsibility of the judiciary. Even though the police service, the prosecutor may object, the onus still lies on the magistrate to decide whether bail will be granted or not. I mean, we would have our opinions, they would have their opinions. Everybody is guided by what is in the law.
Yeah, and that's where, to me, again, that's out of your particular jurisdiction there, but I really hope and trust at some point we could get to a place where people, especially who are held with guns, we're talking here all these AR-15s we're hearing about, bail is either denied, or you have to really stay inside for a while, because that I don't want your work to come to naught if indeed there's not, if everybody's not working in tandem per se. So what's the plans? Obviously, more of these, I guess, under the state of emergency, you're going to do more of these searches. You're, again, intelligence-driven. That's the approach going into the weekend.
Intelligence-driven as well. We will continue to do the searches, the roadblocks, the random stop and searches. We'll continue to maintain our presence, a heightened presence in hotspots, and as we enter into the festive carnival season.
I'm not going to ask about carnival. What's the roadmap? Because I know all hands, outside even our state of emergency, all hands normally
all hands are usually on deck for the carnival period. And I say that we, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, together with all our members and our partners in national security, are already in the planning stages to ensure that Carnival 2025 is a safe carnival. Every year we challenge ourselves to make the upcoming carnival even safer than the carnivals before. And if you look at history with respect to the way that we police our carnival, our incidents are minimum. We're really looking back at the past few years. We want to encourage persons to come out. We want to encourage the tourism, the foreigners, to come down and have a good time, because you will be safe, you will be protected. We have your back.
Interesting you said that, and I want to bring it to what lots of visitors would have told me over the years. Friends who will either stay home by me, or people you meet in the feds, especially in the all-inclusive experience, where it's a different kind of format, a different audience might go to the all-inclusive. They've always been a bit concerned about the tactical wear, the presence, the intimidating look of our officers in the said feds. Is that, and it's something I used to always discuss with Officer Lal, is that something strategic? I mean, what's the mindset behind coming out in full tactical wear in a scenario where people party? And people don't really see that outside, You could go to big stadiums in New York and Florida, wherever the officers are more or less dressed in normal garb and not really in tactical wear as a deterrent, as it were.
Well, my good commissioner had a lot of foresight. And you would recognize that within the last few months, we have mandated that all police officers be dressed in police order number 3, which is their gray shirts and blue pants, with the exception of a few tactical units, such as the Guard and Emergency, the IATF, the Multi-Optional Police Section, who are allowed to wear these uniforms. So you will no longer see these tactical uniforms. You may see one or two, but there is a mandate, that we are now all dressed in grey and blue. Even the task forces, the divisional task forces, they themselves are now dressed in police order number 3. So you can tell your friends, we have since addressed that.
Okay.
So they could, just relax.
Thanks for sharing. I'm glad that you brought that up. And probably as we get closer to the real heat of the carnival, feel free to share with us some more of the plans, because yes, as you rightfully said, this is going to be the 3rd weekend of partying, 3rd weekend of people out and about. And again, we urge people to do the right thing, don't be drinking. Well, if you're drinking, don't be driving, right? Because again, roadblock, you don't want to end up in a monkey pants in this state of emergency. So be very mindful and be very aware and take care of yourself going into this 3rd party weekend. ESP Russell, you keep safe, have a great one, and thanks for touching base with us.
Hey, thank you very much. Trinidad and Tobago, have a wonderful day. And know that we remain committed, courageous, and brave. We will protect our country.
Thanks for that reassurance, indeed. Officer Russell, touching base as we transition into the 7 a.m. news update. Johan Say and your mental health matters. That's coming up after 7. And my colleague, Ryan Beatrice, joins me. He is putting forward a book. He is now an author. This is great news. I'm so happy for Ryan. He's going to touch base with me inside the next hour. See you soon.